Anne Marie here. Today I'm doing a little experiment. I found these two big old packs of photo paper in a thrift store for $1. And I thought, well, I don't have a photo printer, much less the specific type of photo printer, but why not just play around with it? I kind of thought that it would be a good substitute for glossy cardstock, but no, I was very wrong about that. But I've got all these sheets of photo paper and I've been in an experimental mood, so I thought I'm just going to play around and try to find some ways to work with this. Hopefully, this will give you some ideas that might work and show you what definitely doesn't work if you're trying to use up old packs in your closet for a printer you no longer have, or maybe you've seen some in the clearance aisle, a giveaway table, or thrift store, and this will hopefully give you some idea of where you can start with it. Probably anticipate more videos about this too, just FYI. All right. Oh, I was just playing there with my nail polish. It's a thermal nail polish, so it changes color with the temperature. Don't mind me. Okay. All right. First, I used alcohol markers to lay down big diagonal stripes of color. Then I sprayed that with a lot of rubbing alcohol. I was hoping to get some type of kind of splotchy effect where it would kind of remove some of the ink, but that did not happen at all. I did get a cool running color effect from the dark blue. I couldn't recreate that with any of the other stripes, however. I also did a lot of drying with my heat gun and then spraying it with alcohol over and over again until I got the photo paper kind of cracked in this like random bizarre squiggle thing. See if you can see it there. It looks like an upside down question mark. Not quite what I was going for, and I couldn't get it to crack or do anything else, so that was kind of disappointing. I tried flipping this over, spraying it with alcohol from the back to see if that would push through or have any effect on the chemicals or I don't know what, but that was also a no-go. So I laid down some of my alcohol markers directly onto my mixed media mat to see if I could kind of dip the photo paper into it. And I did get a little more running and color removal, so that was an interesting effect. And I do want to play around again with that someday. There's my final background. And for the card, I grabbed a pack of gold cardstock feathers I've had for a while from Dollar Tree. I ripped off some washi from my stash and I matted that for the sentiment. For my next card, before I lay any color down, I used a piece of very fine grit sandpaper to rough up the surface. Then I went in with distress inks instead of alcohol markers. I was curious to kind of see what difference this might make in how the ink is absorbed and what kind of texture it would create. Next, I tried a little bit of water because distress inks are water reactive, but this did nothing. And that was interesting to me. And again, I'm guessing it has something to do with a chemical reaction where the photo paper really grabs and holds on to most inks. I could see that the dark green sank really nicely into the sanded areas. I tried a little crosshatch look then by sanding in the opposite direction. Grabbed a baby wipe to see if I could lift any of the ink or blend it, but again, not a lot happened. There's my final background for the second card. And here's the card that I made, just following the same formula of feather and washi. So for my third attempt, I used distress inks again, and I overlapped my grass green with the lime green just to see if I could get it to blend a little bit more. I also tried some Vaseline on it, just to see what would happen. Distress inks generally react with water, right? So again, I didn't really expect anything to happen with the Vaseline. But again, I'm unsure about the chemical composition on top of this paper, and I wondered if Vaseline might interact with it. It did not, at least not through the ink. I had not sanded this one at all. I got some really good texture from just inking it and wiping it, which might have moved that petroleum jelly around a little bit on top of it. And I will come back to Vaseline here in just a second. For the card again, I just used the same formula. All right, so I thought that Vaseline idea had some merit, so I wanted to try switching the order and see what that would do. So this time I added Vaseline first, directly to the blank piece of photo paper. I just swiped big chunks of Vaseline across the surface. Now I'm going to mist over them. So this is yet another kind of medium, but I'm pretty sure these are also water-based. And when I wiped off the mist, the Vaseline had created a resist. I really liked that. And so I fully wiped the Vaseline off completely, as much as I could. And then I added Vaseline in a couple other spots to see what would happen with that next layer of mist. Theoretically, I was hoping that they would resist that next level and then let the green that I'd already misted on come through in these new places where I wipe it off. But I was aware that, I had wiped off all that Vaseline from previously. And so it was possible that I just covered the entire thing with Vaseline and it was no longer going to add any color. But I decided to try it. I added a whole different color of mist. I wiped it off again. And this time I got a little bit of interaction with the green. I got a little bit of blending, but I also had lots and lots of resisted places. So I just kind of continued playing around with this. And what was really interesting about this was that it did remove a little bit of color in some places where I wasn't expecting it to. So again, that could have just been transfer from when I removed the Vaseline and kind of wiped it across the background, but they weren't always in connected spots. So it's still very interesting to me. This was the completed background for the fourth card. I thought this was one of the most interesting backgrounds. And for my final piece of photo paper, I wanted to try hand sanitizer. I have used hand sanitizer in an experiment before, which I will try to link right here. However, it was clear hand sanitizer that time. This time, the only sanitizer I could find was pink. It didn't exactly fit the color scheme I was using, but I hoped since I wasn't leaving it there for very long, it wasn't going to stain. I immediately blotted the sanitizer and then I wiped. And you can see that I've got these subtle pink spots in the background. So, oops. I'm going to do some blending with ink blending brushes. Ha! Can you see the googly eyes? My daughter and my husband, they played a little prank on me this summer where they put googly eyes on like everything. Lotion in the bathroom, my ink pads, spices in the cupboard, just a bunch of really random places. And every time I find them, it just kind of makes me happy. I made a similar color gradient and continued that cycle of adding drops of hand sanitizer and blotting and wiping. I did make a few little streaky, and I found that removed ink where the hand sanitizer landed. I added one more layer of color to see if those spots would continue to resist the ink, and this gave me kind of faded places in the pattern. So here's my final background, and here's my final card. All told, I got 5 very interesting cards from this experiment, and I can't wait to play around with my boxes of photo paper again. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click like or subscribe. I would love to see you around again. And next time I will have a layout and card share, and after that, another Cute Cards Quick video. So be sure to check back, and in the meantime, have a happy, scrappy week. Bye!